Arsenal 7, PSV 1. 7 goals without a recognised striker. Not a single one of them was a set-piece goal. And they play Man United next. 4 best attackers injured as well. And I've been talking about Arsenal a fair bit this week, and I've been saying they're almost too well coached in the sense of they're a little bit too robotic and in routine in the final third, and they're not taking risks. And today, they're taking risks. Everything I said about Arsenal in my video talking about them the other day, they're like, yeah, screw Alice, we're going to make Alice look like a fool. And they're taking risks, and the intensity, the press, they're moving the ball much quicker. And it just shows how good Arsenal is. This game shows how good Arsenal is. And yes, PSV were poor, and yes, PSV defended poorly. But when Arsenal are good and Arsenal get going, they are an unbelievable side. And this is what drives me insane about them. I'm a Man United fan. I don't like Arsenal, but I want Arsenal to beat West Ham. And I wanted Arsenal to get points in their recent games to at least put some pressure on Liverpool so, the title can be decided in May, not pretty much February. Because Liverpool getting 20 titles is my worst nightmare. But in the Champions League, I want Arsenal to crash out. In the Champions League, this is my time to hate watch on Arsenal. I'm getting excited thinking, you know what? PSV knocked out Juventus, and Arsenal come out and they play unbelievable football. Now, PSV didn't defend very well, and PSV are pretty atrocious, but it shows how good Arsenal can be. If you give Arsenal space, they're unbelievable. When Arsenal start taking risks and playing riskier football and moving it quicker, they're so much better. But I think a big thing of it is confidence. Once Arsenal go 1-0 up, they are a different side. It's like sometimes they need that goal to get them going. Now, today, I just think Arsenal brought the intensity. Declan Rice was everywhere on the pitch, running the show. When Nwaneri, special player, thought, Lewis Skelly played well, but rash. He had to come off. Smart decision from Arteta, because I thought Calafiori was unbelievable today. He's better attacking threat than Sterling. You might as well stick him on in your front line if you're going to play Lewis Skelly in defence at this rate, because I think he's better than Sterling. But Arsenal had the intensity. They were taking risks. They were moving the ball quicker. And it's annoying because they play Man United next and they just scored 7 goals and they're going to be full of confidence. And Martin Odegaard, who I thought had a very poor first half and has been not at his best the last 10 or so games, second half, unbelievable. Martin Odegaard was very much back to his best second half. Now, the big question is, why does it take Arsenal being 3-1 up for him to do that? I can understand Arsenal fans' frustration, but it's the confidence as well. That goal for Merino, that goal for Calafiori, those goals for Odegaard, that performance, the confidence they're bringing them, the confidence that when Nwaneri was playing with, he made almost a solo run in about the 56th or 57th minute. It's going to do massive things, and it's like, with Arsenal, they are a good side. We've seen that this season. They haven't had luck. Liverpool have been unbelievable, and I always think it's unfair to say that if Arsenal didn't have injuries, they would have won the league, because Liverpool are on track for a 91-point season, which is higher than Arsenal's highest ever goal tally. But Arsenal, had they not had the injuries and been playing like this, would be giving Liverpool a really big running for their money and a tight race to the end. We know how good Arsenal can be on the day, and I don't like saying that as a United fan. But they've been hit and miss this season. But this was Arsenal at their best on their day, and they play Manchester United next. And everything that I think has been poor about Arsenal recently, the lack of risks, almost being too well coached, good in the first phase, good in the second phase, but in the final third, it's a bit slow, it's a bit routine, it's following the system, building up slowly. They lack that transition threat. They're not taking the risks. Today they were doing that. The way they were switching the ball quickly, the press, the way they were trying to win back the ball was so much better from Arsenal. They looked to create space. They were taking on players. They're getting into dangerous areas, switching the play faster, isolating someone like Nwaneri to take on his player in a more dangerous position. There was more freedom in it. And I thought one thing that Arsenal did really well in today's game was how they used the fullbacks. Nice Lewis Skelly assist, Calafiori goal and assist, Timber goal. That's 4 of the 7 goals coming from fullbacks. But actually, if you look at more of the goals, the fullbacks' movements, the opening up space, the drawing out defenders, the putting in the crosses, they must have had a part to play in nearly every goal today. They were so dangerous. And I think PSV, their wingers potentially not tracking their mans, but they didn't know how to cope with the fullbacks. And I thought Calafiori was unbelievable today. I really was impressed with Calafiori, and I think it's crazy to write him off so early. I watched a little bit of Bologna last season. I watched, obviously, the Euros. I'm a big fan of Calafiori. I wanted him at United. This guy could be cover at centre-back if you need for left centre-back, but he's going to be your left-back. And I think he's had hit and miss moments, but I don't think people understand. This is a 22-year-old guy that I think he's shown in so many games what a threat and what a good player he can be. I do believe that Calafiori will be a really good signing for Arsenal. He just needs that run of games to build fitness. Xerxes, these last 5-6 games for United, has been really good. He's been our best attacker, which is not hard, but it took him that run of games to build up that fitness and get going. And I think Calafiori's had those injury setbacks. and stuff as well. But I thought Calafiori was unbelievable. But as I said, Arsenal were less robotic. They look more fluid. I criticised them for being overcoached, too safe. They're almost too well coached at times that when they've got to have a bit of freedom and creativity themselves, they follow the rules too much. But today it was the pressing, the intensity, the energy, the switches, even using throw-ons to be more dangerous and create space with the movement. And I thought the way that the fullbacks were used was brilliant. I think that was Timber's best game in a while because I think he dropped off a bit. I think maybe he was exhausted. I think Ben White coming back as well was going to give Timber a real push to fight for his place. But 5 goals in the first 47 minutes was a joke. You'd not scored in your last 2 games. 5 in the first 47 minutes. Ended up getting 7 in total. And you play Man United. I'm thinking the time I get to watch Arsenal, UCL, PSV, good home record in the UCL, knocked out Juventus. I know PSV have been susceptible defensively, not been at their best, but I was like, come on, PSV. Arsenal smashed them at the park. I mean, it was annoying how bad PSV were as a Man United fan, how bad they were, because the confidence of the 7 goals for Arsenal going in the Man United game when Man United had been shy, it worries me. It really worries me. I'm not going to lie to you. But let's continue on. The football was good from Arsenal. I think there were negatives in the sense of Thomas Partey making mistakes. Lewis Skelly needs to learn. Like a great player, but he needs to learn. He really easily could have been sent off today. And I think Arteta was smart taking him off and not taking that risk. I have to say that. Odegaard did have a poor first 45 minutes, but he redeemed himself in the second half. But other than that, it was very, very positive. Even Trossard was showing threat. I think Sterling wasn't great. I feel like Sterling can't do it in the Premier League anymore because he lacks the intensity. The intensity in the Premier League is high, and maybe his legs have gone a bit, or maybe his desire's gone a bit. I don't think Sterling was great, but they were the only negatives. But I think, as I said, the positives on the screen, I've said it. Once Arsenal score, they look good. I think if had PSV scored first, it could be a different game. I'm not going to lie to you. As good as Arsenal were today, I feel like Arsenal need to go 1-0 up to get going, and then the other team has to take more risk, space open up. And the mad thing about this is Arsenal could rest and rotate a few players in the second leg because PSV aren't going to beat Arsenal by 7 goals at the Emirates. They're not. Even if you rest 3 or 4 players, Arsenal could lose the next leg 4-2, but this is its seal for them. They're in the round of 16. They're playing one of the Madrid sides, which will be their biggest game of the season. The only way they can save the season is Champions League, because unless Liverpool do something crazy, they're not winning the Premier League. This is a show of, when Arsenal go 1-0 up, they get going. And for me, I'm hoping Man United go 1-0 up, and I'll tell you what, at the weekend. But I do think with a proper striker and a proper left winger, Arsenal can be dangerous next season. You need Odegaard back in form. You need a left winger that's going to help you in transitions. You're going to need a striker that's a natural goal scorer. I just don't think Martinelli's been good enough, I'm going to be totally honest. Maybe you need like a left-sided centre mid as well to take the creative burden off Odegaard, but then you might be bringing Subamende and then pushing Declan Rice higher. I think that's what Arsenal need. In terms of other notes, because I want to talk about Nwaneri, and I don't want to make this video too long, but he was just brilliant. Not just his goal, but basically setting up Odegaard's goal, almost scoring a great solo goal. He's raw, but no doubt special. As I said, getting numbers at his age, I think he's contributed to 8 goals this season, is it? Ball striking ability, like the finishes that he's scored, they're not just goals, they're good goals. The confidence to drive at people, make things happen, almost scoring a solo goal. He is a special player, Nwaneri. Absolutely special player. And as I said, this is a PSV side that destroyed Juventus. I thought it was going to be a harder game. Arsenal, they made it look easy. PSV were poor. Odegaard woke up in the second half, but Odegaard needs to show up when it's 0-0 and Arsenal struggling. I've seen people hyping up Odegaard again. I thought Odegaard was unreal last season. Unbelievable player last season. And 22-23, unreal. Last 2 seasons, Odegaard's been unreal. I've been critical of Odegaard lately because when Arsenal were struggling and need him most, he's not there. I'm a Man United fan. We are rubbish. And the only reason we're not in the relegation zone is because Bruno Fernandes has contributed to our last 7 goals, pulling us out of the dumps. That's what Odegaard needs to do for Arsenal. He's great when Arsenal are playing well and winning, but Arsenal, when they need a bit of someone to show up, that's what he's lacked. And that, I think he was unreal in the second half, and that was Odegaard at his best. Is that going to be something that's going to push him on this season to get back to the unreal Odegaard that we saw the last 2 seasons? Because I've been critical of him because I don't think he stepped up when Arsenal have needed him most in Saka's absence. I think Declan Rice could arguably get man of the match. He won't because He wasn't a goal scorer, but I thought he was everywhere. Like the ability to cover ground, he's an athletic monster. I thought Timber stepped up really well. And as I said, no set piece goals, no attacker, four attackers out. 7 goals is crazy. Away from home in the Champions League, it's crazy. And while PSG had dropped off, the home record in the Champions League is good, but the tempo there from Arsenal forcing PSG into errors, the press, the out possession work, they were winning the ball back, they were switching play. It was very good for Arsenal. And man of the match is difficult because you got Declan Rice, who's unreal. You got Calafiori that was unreal when he came on. You got Odegaard, that second half was unbelievable, and you've got Nwaneri. It's hard to give a man of the match to someone, but I thought Nwaneri was incredible today. And these are his Champions League stats in 6 games, which is only 221 minutes. So he's only actually played the equivalent of 2.5 full 90s as well. So he's not started those games. But 2 goals, 1 key pass, 1 big chance created, 7 out of 10 successful dribbles, 5 tackle ones. Essentially, he got an assist today, in my opinion. Is that crazy for 17 years of age? That is unreal. Like, his numbers are unreal. 17-year-old Nwaneri has scored or assisted 9 goals for Arsenal. He's now been directly involved in more goals than any player in the club's history before turning 18. This is a generational talent. I don't like to say that, but Nwaneri is a generational talent. Arsenal have one on their hands. It's ridiculous because you can be good and you can look exciting at a young age, but then to get the numbers, especially when Arsenal aren't really scoring loads of goals in attack, it's not like you're walking into prime Manchester City with everybody around you, and he's pulling Arsenal up at one of their lowest moments in their modern good Arteta era, not the first 2 seasons, you know what I mean? You know, because I think a lot of other players haven't stepped up. He's making Sterling look like an idiot. He's making Martinelli not look good. Like, he's been ridiculous and he's 17. And he'll be moulded in when Saka's back and Saka will take his position back. But it just shows the talent there. Today, 100% dribbles completed, 6 passes complete, 3 crosses, 4 shots, 2 shots on target, 1 goal. Unbelievable. And the fact that he dribbled around a few players and wanted to take on that shot, it shows the confidence he's playing with. Really talented player. And as Doogie said here, Nwaneri became just the 3rd English player to start a Champions League knockout game before turning 18 after Bellingham and Foden. So not bad competition to be in. And a goal after 21 minutes. I think apparently Hazard hasn't scored a goal in a knockout game in the Champions League either. But I wanted to talk about the 3 other players that impressed me as well, not just Nwaneri. And these are my notes. Calafiori, freedom to push forward, really shined in attacking areas. He could honestly start in Arsenal's front line at this rate. His ball carrying athleticism, runs and intensity were huge. I think it's crazy that people write him off. He's 22 years of age. I think he's a great player. I really like Calafiori. I think Merino I've been more sceptical about, but Calafiori I've really liked. Declan Rice just doesn't go missing in big games. I think 95%, 99% against for Arsenal he's very good, and I think he does a lot of off-the-ball work, so he doesn't get the credit for what he does. For his intensity was key. I thought he was everywhere, won the midfield battle, never stopped running. I thought he was fantastic. And I thought Yuri Timber looked back to his best. He'd seemed exhausted lately, but today was unreal, getting in good positions for the goals. And I thought the fullbacks caused a lot of issues. Anyway, Arsenal fans, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm assuming you're through to the next round. I think you basically are through. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think the knockouts against the Madrid side will be the real test. If Arsenal knock out Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, then I'll go from saying Arsenal are going to be trophyless this season to actually there's something here for Arsenal. If Arsenal can knock out one of the Madrid sides, which is a big if, but this is a statement win, we'll have a serious conversation about Arsenal in the Champions League. But the next round will be the big test. This is PSV. You'd expect Arsenal to win. Difficult game, done well, but the next round is a huge test. Thank you for watching. Bye.